Welcome back to Surviving and Thriving, where we share with you the things that we have learned as we have transitioned our family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it, in the hopes that something that we share with you will help you, enlighten you, and encourage you as you transition your family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it. As in all things, in all these videos, I always share with you my experiences in the hopes that something that I share with you will help you, enlighten you, and encourage you as you go through. And it doesn't mean that what I go through, you're going to go through. And so you never want to limit yourself to somebody else's experience. Because it happened for me that way doesn't mean that it's necessarily going to happen for you that way. But hopefully something in what I've gone through can help you in making decisions on what is best for you. And at the very least, just comfort you and to know that you're not alone. What you're going through, you're not alone. And maybe you can get some ideas out of something that I'm saying. So today I say all of that to tell you that I don't necessarily have an answer for what I'm going to talk to you about. This is one of those videos where I'm just going to share with you my experience in it. Meaning that I don't have even the answers for me, but I can tell you the things that I've learned, the things that I've experienced, and how it's played out in multiple ways in my life. Hopefully it'll be a blessing to you and something that you can get out of it. Sorry. So when is it? How should we say this? When is it a good time to test yourself? Should you test yourself? That's a hard question to ask. You know, sometimes we go through health issues, health crisis, and we get limited a lot in what we can do and where we can go. It just limits a lot of things. But there comes a day where we have to test ourselves. And testing ourselves is hard. Right? It's scary sometimes because if you've done something and had a bad experience or a bad result of it, and you kind of go, ooh, I'm not going to do that no more, right? But there may be a day when you can do it and you just don't know that you can do it because you have to test yourself. And that's pretty scary. That is a pretty scary thing, right? If you try to get up and try to walk and you've been bedridden and you try to get up and walk and you hurt yourself and it doesn't feel good, you're more apt to not want to keep trying to get up and walk. You think, oh, I can't do that, right? If you fell down and hurt yourself really bad or broke something, you think, oh, I'm not going to do that no more. But it doesn't mean it's going to be that way always. You're constantly doing things to get better, constantly doing things to get stronger, and you have to test yourself sometimes so that you can, one, build up to a next level, but two, realize that there's something that you can do. And you guys, this is on all levels. It's in really from crisis situations to where you're doing really good, right? You're doing really good. Even when you're doing really good and you're a lot stronger, you still need to test yourself on things to see if there's some other levels that you can go to, some next levels that you can accomplish and attain. But it's kind of really scary. So how do you know when you can do it? For me personally, you guys, sometimes I stumble upon some things and find out, ooh, I can do that. I didn't even know I could do that. Other times, I'm challenged because there's things in my life, things in my family, and I have to rise to the occasion. And then I challenge myself and I realize I'm able to do something. Sometimes it's just on the inside, I'm ready to try. I'm just ready to try. I've seen something, I feel something, I just want to see, and I'll just try something on a new level. Now that goes for every area of my life, every aspect of my life, whether it's something physical or otherwise, you guys. We all have to test ourselves at some point in time, and it can be really scary. Like, for example, if you've been in love, love is so wonderful, right? But then you've been hurt, you've been betrayed. You have the tendency to not want to trust again, to not want to love again. But there comes a day where you have to test yourself and let yourself out there and let yourself love again. So that's when I say when it's in all areas of life. It's in all areas of life, financially, relationship-wise, but definitely in our health. And that's what we're talking about today. My throat's a little sore, I'm sorry. How do I test myself? Well, I test myself in a lot of different ways, depending upon what it is. But When I do test myself, one thing that I found, and this is really important that I want to share with you, is that usually when you test yourself, there are some things where you test yourself and you're able to accomplish it, no big deal, and you feel great about it and you're excited about it. That's awesome. But there's a lot of things out there when you're going to test yourself, it's not going to feel good. It doesn't mean that you're not ready for the next level, right? It means that you're using muscles that you haven't used before. My phone's ringing. You're doing something that you haven't done in a while, and so you need to build strength in that area. So it might not feel good. So, you guys know I work out. You guys know I do physical therapy, and I'm trying to get stronger. I can say I probably just worked up to being a beginner. You know how you see exercise and then it says for the intermediate or for the advanced or for the beginner? I think I worked myself up to being a beginner right now. And that is exciting and that is great. But you know, I've been doing this for a couple years now, so I think, you know, I see some of them other exercises. I want to do some of them, right? But I'm not ready for them yet. But all along the way, I have to test myself all the time and try something new. So if I'm trying a new exercise, if I'm lifting a different poundage and weight or something like that, it doesn't feel good. Usually there's some inflammation built up in that area. You might have a little pain. If you've been bedridden or if you've been weak and you haven't done anything, even to just get up and start walking, you might have been walking around your house, walking around the grocery store, you're doing good, but you decide you want to start walking, right? You want to go out on the street and do some daily walks. You might find that your shoulders might start hurting and you're wondering why, and you got a little bursitis in there and a little swelling in there on those joints, and you're wondering why all you're doing is walking. Well, because it's that extra usage. Your shoulders aren't used to being worked like that so much, and so you might have some pain in there, some things you might need to go through. You might need to go see a chiropractor. It doesn't mean stop. You got to build your body up to having your shoulders being used to being swung that much while you're walking. If you haven't ran in a long time and you start trying to jog, your ankles and your knees, everything is going to start talking to you big time. Doesn't necessarily mean you're not ready for it. It means you're still building up to it and your body is being used for the first time in a way that it hasn't been used to. So your joints have to get used to that pounding and that weight of when you're walking or when you're jogging or when you're stepping. So does it mean to stop? It doesn't mean to stop necessarily. Sometimes it means to step back and move up a little bit slower, but you're ready to move up. Anytime in life we go from one level to another level, it's not going to feel good. It's going to be some challenges. There's going to be some obstacles, but it doesn't mean that you're not ready. How do you know you're not ready? You do something that hurts yourself real bad, right? If you do something that your doctors tell you you're not ready for it, you'll know when you're not ready for it. But when you are ready for it, it's not going to feel good, and you might think that you're not ready. So you have to listen to your body and know your body. I have to listen to my body and know my body, and sometimes it's a little confusing. So I might do something, step back for another week, come back, step back for 2 weeks, come back, but I'm constantly moving forward in that thing to get my body to adjust, to deal with the aches and the pains, and to keep building the strength to be able to do something. When you've been working out for a while or working on your health for a while or doing something for a while, there'll be some things that you do that you used to couldn't do and you didn't even realize you got there. So I went to a sporting event the other day and I had to go up the bleachers, and I was looking and I was a little nervous because I didn't know how I was going to be able to navigate these bleachers. Okay, the steps are really big for me and I hadn't been able to take steps that big, and so I was a little nervous about it, but I was going to hold face in front of all these people in there. I wasn't going to go in there and look like I didn't know what I was doing. So I started to step up there and I didn't realize I could lift my leg like that now, and I pushed myself up the bleachers and I was able to navigate the bleachers with ease. Shocked the mess out of me. Didn't know that I had reached that place or I had reached that level. So just be aware that sometimes you're going to have to test yourself to see where you are, to see if you're ready. Sometimes you're going to have to make yourself be ready. You know what? I got to get out of this bed. I'm not going to stay here and be in this weakened state. I'm going to sit up. It's not going to feel good to sit up. You're going to feel like you're going to want to pass out and faint. You're going to feel like everything in you hurt, right? And it's going to be hard. But you sit up. You do it as long as you can. And then, you might need to rest the rest of the day. Believe me, I know. You might be knocked out, passed out the rest of the day because that took every ounce of energy you had. But tomorrow when you get up, do it again. Because sometimes you're going to have to go through that pain to get to the place where you're trying to get to. I was over 300 pounds, right? And I was full of fluid. And my knees wouldn't straighten up. And I walked on my tiptoes. And I was in the hospital. And I had been bedridden for a while. And I was doing physical therapy, trying to learn how to get up so that I could walk. And every day they would come and get me out of the bed to walk with me. And it hurt. It hurt bad. I couldn't breathe. Everything on me hurt. I was dizzy. I was lightheaded. And I would just start pouring down in sweat. And so they would come and we sit up and put my feet down and I'm getting ready to get up. And then I'd pass out. So we did that for a little while. And then it was, I sit up. And I'm telling you, every day I didn't want them to come because this was painful. It was awful. It did not feel good. And I would literally pass out for the rest of the day. But I had to keep testing myself and keep pushing myself so that I could get to a place so I could walk. So we got to the place where I would sit on the edge of the bed and then I would stand up. And then I'd fall out. We got to the place where I could stand up and then I could walk to the foot of the bed. And we kept doing that until I could walk partially towards the door. Got to a place where I could walk to the bathroom inside of my room, my hospital room. Got to the place where I could walk to the door, which was on the other side of the bathroom. Got to the place where I could walk out in the hallway, turn around, come back. And we did that until one day I was able to walk down the hall. And every time it was time for me to walk, the pain that I was going through, what it cost me to try to do that, it was just so terrible. And all the nurses would stand in the hallway and watch and cry. They would pour down in tears, right? And the day that I finally walked to the hallway, to the end of the hallway, an elder from my church was there with me that day. And she sang to me while I walked. And I closed my eyes and I listened to her sing. And I focused on her singing. And I kept saying, I can do this. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me, right? And with each step it was, trying to put one leg in front of the other. And everybody was out there crying. And I waited to the end of the hall. And when I got to the end of the hall, they said, now open your eyes. And I looked. And it was a wall standing in front of me. And it was the first day that I had ever been able to do that. And all those ladies was crying. And everybody in that hospital was cheering. Because it had took a lot. But we finally made it to the end of the hall. Right? That's just going to a hall. In the hall, and I'm telling you, we're going to the short end of the hall, not the long end of the hall, right? But what I'm telling you is that it's going to hurt. It's not going to feel good. And everything in you going to tell you you're not ready. You can't do it. But you have to know on the inside when it's time to keep pushing past that to get to the next level. But you also have to know when it's really saying stop. And nobody can tell you when that time is but you. You have to know the difference between, ooh, this is hurt, like I'm going to hurt myself hurt, or this is hurt, it's an obstacle, but I'm going to get past it hurt. So I hope something in there was helpful for you. Until next time, remember, in all things, at all times, do you, be you, do what's best for you and your health, because nobody knows you like you know you. Until next time.